and really get on the streets and do something. So the government should really begin to look at human beings as citizens, as part and parcel of what they have to serve. And therefore, for me, this looks like the beginning of a new era of terror. And people in the studio, I hear the gentleman, and I hear that gentleman from the ruling party, but I think this should be an indicator to you that as people who are watching, as people who are going through all this suffering, we are not just not getting on the streets, but we are getting there too.
We'll end with the voice of a mother, presumably. Honorable Sebalu, you're the man in the dock.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to thank the callers for their comments and the ideas that they've put across. And I think definitely there's need to engage, and engage constructively with a view of solving some of the challenges that we may be facing as a country from a leadership perspective. Someone talked about a dictatorial regime. I don't think that Uganda is a dictatorship. Uganda is not a dictatorship. Uganda is a government that believes in the rule of law, and it is an elected government with the mandate of the people. It's not imposed on the people, and we should be orderly as a country even when we are faced with challenges. But if there are cases definitely where maybe the police handled this matter in a high-handed way, definitely that is not something to be encouraged. I would definitely condemn it myself in case that police went out of their way and mishandled people who are innocently walking. Definitely that is not what this government is all about. So calling it a dictatorship is misplaced, is not right factually and in all other dimensions. But definitely you could have people, some indisciplined people with excess, and they behave in a manner that is unpleasant. Deo raised the issue of the quality of opposition and the level of engagement. That is my view. How I wish today we had the kind of engagement, and it should continue. We should have it in forum and bring ideas constructively.
Would you listen to them?
I would, personally. And I think the government would. Mm-hmm. This government has been listening to many people, and definitely you can't tell me it can't listen to this one. Yeah, you talked about liberalization. Definitely it has its challenges. Government coming into business, well, that is another challenge, because the business of government is not to do business, but it is to create the enabling environment in terms of procedures and regulatory arrangements to allow the private sector engage seriously. But where need be, definitely government needs to make interventions to mitigate certain excesses. But essentially government shouldn't be in business because you'd even end up having a conflict of interest therein. But mitigation measures need to be undertaken where as and when they are necessary. Carol talked about taxes. Yes, I agree that definitely at a time like this you could look at options, either varying tax levels to make it easier for people to go about their lives in terms of managing. Yeah, that is an option. And I think when I said that the Minister of Finance and Bank of Uganda, definitely I don't want to speak on their behalf, but these are definitely intervention, and soon definitely government will be coming out with a position from the Ministry of Finance and from Bank of Uganda in terms of how these can be mitigated. And these are possible areas of intervention, varying taxes, although they have their own challenges in terms of projections and in terms of the commitments that you may have in place to,
including the jets.
Sure. The issue of the jets has come up. You've raised it, but you've talked about the cost. I don't know what your sources are in terms of saying.
I was able to talk to the suppliers
of saying that the costs are how many times. That one I don't want to go into that. But the necessity of a country's defense mechanism to be robust, to be able to mitigate any threats. A country, is bound to have threats,
especially on our oil.
Definitely any country. All the countries that we do know of, the most democratic countries that we've talked about, are the most prepared to engage with any eventuality. When you look at the US, the NATO guys now who are terrorizing Libya, these are the most democratic guys we should think of. But they are using the most expensive, most sophisticated war machinery against Libya.
All right.
So in terms of a defense of any nation, definitely that is something of strategic. Regarding the cost and other details, I don't want to engage that debate. But the principle of a robust defense mechanism for any country is something.
Okay, we have to move on because of the time. Yes.
Lastly, the issue of prioritization, definitely, I agree with that. When you have a challenge, and I believe definitely the government is going to come up with priorities in order to offset certain expenditures and be able to deal with some of the challenges. Definitely, I agree with Jen. That is a real good point. But what I don't agree with her is for her to say that this is a new era of terror. There's nothing like that. This is a continued era of democratization. We have our challenges as we democratize, but we need to engage, we need to talk, we need to listen to one another, and we need to work as leaders of the same country with a view of solving the challenges that we may be facing.
We have to end, but of course you mentioned the US, the biggest spender on defense. They cut their budget from $700 billion a year to $500 billion because they are in hardship. So we have to end.
But have they cut the defense budget?
They did, from $700 billion to say 500 for this coming year. We have to end here. Somebody sent a text message. I'll end with that. It says, Spectrum, we shall continue working with or without intimidation. Nobody has spoken about the working permits. Maybe another time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Our guests tonight were Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, President of JEEMA. It's a political party, also a member of the organizing committee of this Walk to Work campaign. I did not walk myself because I choose to stay neutral in most things. We also had Honorable Mike Sebalu, East African Legislative Assembly, member of the NRM. Thank you for coming to Spectrum. I've been your host, Edmond, which is in the middle, as always, neutral, not NRM, not opposition. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Stay tuned for the news in English.
The greatest part of hellfire.
Let's offer you a credit card with real value and reward and enable you to shop in Uganda and at millions of retail outlets worldwide, including online shopping. Let's give you the power to borrow cash right when you need it and offer you 55 interest-free days for card purchases. Let's offer you a Stanbic Bank Visa credit card. For more information about the Stanbic Bank Visa credit card, type the word Stanbic. Leave a space, type your query, and send that to 8448, or ask a customer consultant at your nearest branch. Stanbic Bank, moving forward.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90. Watch it on your PC or cell phone now. On your PC,